are Lakers just in this bad little stretch here, or are there bigger issues? Are we sitting here right now and we're saying, okay, they're going to get back on track? They got some home games coming up. I know Miami's coming up. I know Brooklyn's coming up. I know that they'll go on the road against the Clippers, and then they got another game after that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but on the road against Clippers means, they'll shoot down the freeway and eventually 15 minutes away from where they are, 15 minutes from El Segundo. So not necessarily a road game. Are there bigger issues with this team, or is this just a bad stretch? Let me give my thoughts first, and then we'll I'll let you guys react as well. In my gut tells me this is a bad stretch. That's what my gut tells me. Now, I'm not telling you that the team is good enough to go compete for a championship. We've had that conversation before, and there's no need to have that conversation again. But in my gut, the way I look at what the Lakers have done so far this year, kind of the up and down roller coaster that they've been in, went through a stretch where they were playing badass defense, which I thought was starting to turn the season around, and that's why I got them up to a number 3, number 4 seed, or whatever case that was. My concern over these last 3 games, and I think this is fixable, they traded D'Angelo Russell to go get Dorian Finney-Smith, so they become more of a defensive identity team. Here are their last 3 games on the defensive side. 119 against Houston, 118 against Dallas, and 126 against the San Antonio Spurs. That ain't going to get it done. And if I thought they didn't have defensive players, and if I thought they didn't have the personnel to change things around, again, what's the goal? I don't think the goal right now, if you look at this Lakers team, is to say they got to be top 2 in the Western Conference. No, nobody's saying that. But the goal, I think, is very, very clear. You got to at least be top 6. Got to stay in that play-in tournament. If we can get a little greedy, get to the top 5. Is there opportunity to be top 4? Maybe that one's going to be more difficult. I mean, there's still a lot of teams that are bunched up in the Western Conference. But with all that being said, when I look at this Lakers team, I still think they have good enough personnel to be a good defensive team. I still think they have a good enough team to make some kind of noise to allow the front office to then say, guys, we got to go make one more move to try to see if we can get some type of a stretch run that we can make in, obviously a part of the playoffs before February 6th. I still believe that. I don't think the world is going to end. I have not looked at the comments yet. Do I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of Laker fans that say that this team is trash? It's not good. You know what I was reading a lot of yesterday? That 2 things that I don't know if it surprised me, but it surprised me a little bit. 2 things that I saw on the postgame show last night that surprised me a little bit. One thing was how much Laker fans are upset with Austin Reaves, number 1. And number 2, how quick the message is, are we sure on Dorian Finney-Smith over D'Angelo Russell? Those were the 2 things that came that I don't think I was expecting last night. I know it comes with the territory. It comes with losses. When a team loses, they want everybody fired and everybody traded. When a team wins, they want to give them a 9-year extension. I understand. Everybody's reacting in the moment. I do think the Lakers will turn things around. I do think they have the personnel, and I do think the team is good enough to turn things around. But maybe I got my blinders on. Maybe I'm looking at this team, and I'm trying to be too positive when there aren't, as many positive things that we could be talking about or should be talking about. So let me look at some of the comments here. Give myself just a second here because God knows what waits for me in the other screen. Sometimes when I go on a kind of a tangent like this, I take off. I'm not even on my, my StreamYard studio. I don't even see the comments yet. I do that on purpose. Why? Because sometimes you guys throw in comments that will distract me. I'm like, let me just hold up and wait here. But I know they're waiting for me. I know. Everybody relax. Calm down. All right, let's take a quick look here. This organization is in trouble. Last night was unacceptable. Let me actually forward. That was some of the fewer ones. Turnovers were key. 19 turnovers. LeBron had 7 turnovers last night. Okay, these are going to start coming in. I actually think this is a good conversation. We are worse without D'Lo's playmaking. This is a good conversation. Let me say this real quick about D'Angelo Russell. Um, let me say this about D'Lo. You guys know my thoughts on D'Angelo Russell. I wasn't the biggest D'Lo fan. Okay, if there was a parade out there of people loving D'Angelo Russell, I did not show up to the parade. I was good. Hey, Lakers moved on for D'Lo. I didn't have a problem. I will admit this. They have playmaking issues. I will admit that. And whether that's Austin Reaves sometimes getting blitzed, whether that's putting too much on LeBron, like the 7 turnovers last night, whether it's trying to find, I know a lot of people were telling me when the trade went down, hey, don't sleep on Shake Milton. Okay, well, he's not even getting in the lineup now. I will admit that the D'Lo portion of this, either Dorian Finney-Smith is going to have more impact for the Lakers and he's going to do more for the Lake Show, and you're going to see his stat line and say, that's a nice game from – that's why the Lakers traded for Dorian Finney-Smith, and he's got great defensive stops, or maybe the Lakers end up inserting him into the starting lineup and he's got an impact, and he's that guy that you can't leave open because he's hitting those threes, or he's not. And if he's not, then – I think there are going to be Laker fans that sit there and say, why did we trade D'Angelo Russell? Or why did we trade D'Angelo Russell for this guy and not somebody else? There's a lot of articles that are out there, have been out there since the trade deadline, that the Lakers basically, they can't really go after a Zach LaVine anymore. They can't go after any of these other big-time names. Why can't they go after them? They can't go after them because the biggest piece that the Lakers had in a trade was D'Lo. They got the draft assets, no question about it. But the D'Lo contract, of the expiring contract, you can get him off the books. That was a big piece. So when you lost that, you did lose some of that flexibility. All right, let's keep going here. I know. Let's see. This team was a disgrace. Can't wait till LeBron takes off the purple and gold. Okay, that's a little extreme there. CP3 controlled the pace for San Antonio. We had no player who can control the tempo and set people up consistently. It's a good comment here. You're a CP3 fan or not, Chris Paul ate up the Lakers yesterday. He did. I was talking about in the postgame yesterday. I was talking about how many times did Chris Paul say, why don't we do this? Why don't we just go ahead and have Harrison Barnes post up on Austin Reaves, and we're going to freaking feed him every possession, and let's see what the Lakers do. And to be honest with you, the Lakers really didn't make all that many adjustments. And if Chris Paul got the ball back, all Chris Paul would do is say, well, I'm either going to throw it back to Harrison Barnes, or I'm going to find some dude open in the corner or some guy cutting. CP3, who's been in the league for a long time, obviously he's well past his prime, everything else, he had complete control of the game yesterday. That was really disappointing to see. All right, let me get more of these comments here. This is what I want, by the way. I want you guys to, obviously react and give me your opinion and your thoughts and go from there. No one off the bench had 10 points, which is not uncommon. No, that's not uncommon at all, unfortunately, for the Lakers. We should have kept D'Lo and traded Austin. Do you really believe that? All right, let's use this as a conversation real quick. Would you guys really, truly rather have D'Angelo Russell than Austin Reaves? If I could redo the trade and they said, hey, you could throw in Austin Reaves instead of D'Lo, I'll throw in D'Lo 100 times out of 100. And I don't think I'm hating on D'Angelo Russell. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Austin Reaves was wildly more consistent than D'Angelo Russell this year. Austin Reaves actually looks like a player that you want to build for in the future. He's got one of the best contracts in the NBA as far as value goes. No, I'm not trading Austin Reaves for Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm not. All right, let's keep going here. And we could disagree. That's okay. We can definitely disagree. And by the way, if you disagree with me, I encourage you. I really do encourage you to put in more of these comments here. A lot of people, God dang, D'Lo. D'Angelo Russell. I thought with D'Angelo Russell, thought there was a time where the D'Lo chatter would calm down. It's perking its head back up. D'Lo's becoming a part of the chat again. Lakers put D'Lo in corner. He's a playmaker, a rhythm player. Lakers didn't use him like that this year. Yeah, he was bad this year. And if you want to blame that on J.J. Redick and you want to blame that on how the Lakers used him, sure. He also wasn't good this year. 12 points a game, what was his three-point percentage? In the mid-30s, maybe even low 30s. He just wasn't good for the Lakers this year. So I think there was a lot of times there was what you wanted D'Lo to be and what D'Lo actually was for the team. It's a big difference in that. Your perception of what you thought D'Lo can do and what D'Lo was actually doing on a night in, night out basis. Now, listen, I'm not completely opposed if people say, yeah, Al, but they weren't using him the right way. I get that. I understand that. And if you also want to say, if I want to say, yeah, but the guy wasn't playing a lick of defense and you couldn't play Austin Reaves and D'Angelo Russell together on the defensive side, I get people that can also make arguments and say, okay, well, I understand that, but is Austin Reaves playing a lot of defense? So here I am almost kind of in a sense making a case for D'Lo. D'Lo ain't fixing shit. And missing D'Lo isn't causing this issue. D'Lo going to get targeted like Austin. I mean, the effort in defense was lacking, majority careless turnovers. I go back to this. Small problem or bigger problem? Is this a small leak that's just dripping water and all we got to do is let's just go grab the plumber. Plumber's going to come in. He's going to fix this thing up and then that's it. The problem is over. Or is this just a leak that started with a small little drip? It's getting a little bigger and then next thing you know, they got to redo all the piping. That's the question right now with the Lakers. Third straight loss. All right, let's get some more comments here. I don't know what this is about Mos Def, but favorite hip hop artist back in the day. Haven't listened to him in a while. All right, let's take a look. A couple more of these comments, and then a couple other things I want to get into. Austin Reaves, a teacher's pet. He's not a starter in the NBA. Maybe the G League. How many nights we're going to watch Austin shoot under 35%? Nick T. Man, there is open sesame coming after Austin Reaves these days. Open sesame. He had a stretch there for the Lakers. He had a stretch where he was balling out, his playmaking ability, his assists, and he had like a 3-4 game stretch where I'm like, damn, look at these dudes' numbers. You know what happens in the NBA when you do that? NBA adjusts, and they say, cool. What are your strengths? We're going to find a solution to go against those strengths. And I think that portion has happened against Austin Reaves. And, I think there's a little bit of, in my opinion, I think there's a little bit of an adjustment that's happened right now on Austin Reaves. I think that this is the one thing that I want everybody to understand. I want everybody to understand this. When I see comments like this, Austin is a good role player. When I see comments like Austin should come off the bench, when I see comments like that, this is a video that I did last week. Here's the one question that I'd have for everybody on here that says that. What's the other option? What's the other option? Everybody's going after Austin Reaves as in Austin Reaves is supposed to be this triple-double machine, or he's supposed to be 24-7-7 or 24-5-7. Guys, this is who he is. So you want Austin Reaves to get less minutes for who? For who? Who you calling down the bench that JJ Redick believes in, or JJ Redick believes, well, okay, yeah. If the Lakers had premier talent that was waiting and you thought to yourself, well, what the hell are you doing? You should be using somebody else. I would agree with you. I would say, okay, you know what? That makes sense. But I don't see a solution on there. And for those that want to make it like Shake Milton is Mike Conley or Chris Paul, if your argument is, well, let's try Shake and just see what he can do, that part I'm okay with. But I also don't want Laker fans to all of a sudden think in their head that there are better options out there that you can rely on. So, all right, that went long. You guys want to come at me? I'll come at you. Okay? All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.